Constructing your life is about much more than just building a bank account. Each week, join real estate entrepreneur and mindset coach Austin Linney as he interviews guests who are constructing their dream lives and impacting the world around them on a daily basis. If you're an entrepreneur or wanting to start a business, or you just want to hear motivating stories of how others have overcome the odds, you are in the right place. And now for your host, Austin Linney.
Guys, welcome. So glad to have you here. Guys, we've had so many great entrepreneurs, investors, amazing people sharing their story. And what we wanted to do after 230 plus episodes is we wanted to bring back some of the best pieces of advice in short clips to create a power-packed podcast where you can gain a ton of knowledge in a short amount of time. So what we've done here is we've created a greatest of episode, and we really hope that you enjoy our little picking from the best things that we've heard in the Construct Your Life podcast. So enjoy.
For my first time, I raised like $70K the other day in like 20 minutes. And I was like, oh shit, that was really super easy. Well, it's a great deal. And we have a portion of control in the deal. So it's even better because we can put our hands on it. So, but what I try to harp on, and I'd love to hear your advice to anybody new starting on the business, maybe 3 points, is that what I tell them is this: get started now, like yesterday. And also, but weaponize yourself with all of the available options to invest. And I'm not just talking about real estate. Like my financial advisor manages like $2 billion. He's young. He works with a lot of real estate guys. Like there's so many different ways to invest your money that works for you, that if you started at 20 or you started at 18 and you built up at 32, you could be retired.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. You got to surround yourself with the right people, right? And that's professionally and personally. Most of my friend circle now, they're all 10 to 15 years older than me.
Dude, I saw your video. I saw your post, and all 5 of y'all had Teslas. I was laughing my ass off.
Yeah. I mean, great friends think alike, right? I mean, we actually all got it because I got mine because my buddy, I did a test drive in his. I was like, this is the most amazing thing I've ever sat at. Mm-hmm. So literally within 2 weeks, I had one. And then a couple months later, our other buddy got one. And we're just like, all right, man, Tesla gang, let's do this.
No, I love it.
But yeah, you got to surround yourself with like-minded people. I mean, look, honestly, one of the biggest blessings that came out of dropping out of college was that all of my friends were still in college and not in Nashville. I was the only guy that I knew that came back to Nashville. They were all still in Athens and Knoxville and, down at the Grove. And so I didn't go out and drink. I didn't go out and party. I didn't have anything else to do but work. Mm-hmm. And if you surround yourself with people who all they do is live for the weekend and then they want to go out and get shit-faced, and that's what they look forward to every week, you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. Mm-hmm. That's what you become. Mm-hmm. So if you surround yourself with people who are entrepreneurs, who are real estate investors, who are actively trying to better themselves, you will become all 3 of those things. Mm-hmm. So it's super important to be very picky about who you spend time with, because that's all you have.
Every now and then, probably once a month, maybe twice a month, I'll get up at 2:30 or 3 in the morning and go to the gym and post it on my Instagram so my competition knows they don't stand a fucking chance.
That's right.
It's just me planting the flag and letting you know that you will not outwork me. And it feels like I'm doing everything, but I'm not really doing a lot, because I've leveraged out myself out of a lot of things, or understanding what hits the button for my business, right? And my problem, because I am way older than you, is that I was in my 20s. I was 9 miles wide and a centimeter deep.
Oh yeah. And
now I'm 1 foot wide and 90 feet down. I do 2 things. This is what I do, and I if I cannot get a point farther across, like my old boss who I'm having lunch with today, who's worked in commercial development for 20 fucking years, private equity. He said, when you find the bullseye, he goes, you hit that baby so hard, you knock it off the fucking wall.
Yeah. Man, when I first got started in brokerage, I would take on any deal that came my way. I even considered taking on a project in Memphis, which is 3 hours away. because it was big enough for me at the time to be like, I mean, I could drive to Memphis on a Friday and spend the day doing tours and drive back. Like, that's worth it. Now I have a 15-minute radius. And if you call me and you're 30 seconds outside of that radius, I'm sorry, I'm going to have to refer you to somebody else. It's not like you figure out what you're amazing at. It's that 1 inch wide, mile deep thing. This is my area. I don't want to work outside this area. I want to be the expert in this specific.
Just went to Tahoe, and yeah, it's Tahoe, but they said that since June 26th, when they reopened, it's been a 4th of July every day. And people are just tired of it. And now, Twitter, Facebook, they're saying you can work from home for the rest of your life. So why the hell would you pay $4,500 a month to live in San Francisco when you can live in Northern Michigan, work from your laptop, and pay $1,000, $900, $800? And I think that's what we're going to see over time, and you just have to kind of like figure it out. And so let's talk about this new adventure that I didn't even know about till the other day. Let's talk about this new adventure into cannabis entrepreneur.
Okay. Well, and one of the other things I was going to say about investing, and I don't want to skip over this one, is like my partner that I've got in Bay City, we're now looking into laundromats and like looking in the Atlanta market. And that's the thing, is like, you got to get good partnerships, but we haven't landed one yet, but that's where we're trying to get some stuff under contract and finding those in the right market.
And is that for the building asset, or is that for the generated revenue from the laundromat?
It could be both, because some places you get the building with it, and other places you just buy the business. But that's what we're looking at. Like, these things are little cash machines. I mean, from the numbers. And I've got an operator partner down there, and then 2 investor guys that are just trying. You'll
love this. In my 38 years of being on this earth, now that I'm traveling full time, mm-hmm. I've used the laundromat 3 times in the last 3 weeks. Dude, and here's the deal. What? And I know which ones are good and which ones are bad already. Like,
I'll have to get some bet. We'll have to get on a call later. I'll get some more insight from you. Yeah, This one was funny. So my wife was like, we started looking in the laundromats, and my wife does this. She's like, "What? You're looking in the laundromats?" And she goes, "Who uses laundromats?" I'm
okay,
like,
look, I'm going to give you your first tip. You ready? I'm going to give you your first tip. Create an app, and I guarantee it might be out there if you haven't created it. Create an app that sends you a notification text message when your clothes are done.
Okay. All right. Another side business idea. This is what you get when you start talking with different entrepreneurs. I love it. Yeah. So that's another venture. But so back to the other one. So the cannabis. In 2018, cannabis became legal in Michigan, and it was kind of interesting. I mean, dude, so this is kind of funny. I work for my mother-in-law, who is the president of this Class C grow in Northern Michigan, which in an industry, when I first, and I was living out in Colorado in 2014 when they passed this, and I saw what happened out there in Colorado and how this thing went, and the entire industry blew up. I was like, holy crap, like, how do I get invested? How do I get involved with this? It was always like on the back of my mind. And then we moved to Northern Michigan, and my mother-in-law is a plant scientist. She's a botanist. She's got her mastery in forestry. She's super smart. And she was growing weed. And in Michigan, when they passed it in 2018, you could do a caregiver. So she was growing a ton of plants, being a caregiver. And she found some business partners, and it just built into this thing. And now we have probably a 25,000 square foot grow space, which I got to be at probably in about an hour. And we're growing tons of plants out there. And we are in the whole Northern Michigan market. We are building out dispensaries, and that's where I was yesterday, working on, putting up drywall. There's another a good part to multifamily investing and real estate investing is you learn how to build things. You figure it out, and you learn how to redo plumbing, how to put up drywall, everything on the list. You better figure out how to do it. And I've done that. And so again, another piece that I can bring to it's a small business starting up. is, I'm helping our team like build out the dispensary, hanging drywall, building cabinets, painting, yada, yada, yada. And so that's the space we're in. I've got like a full-time gig with it, but I don't know. It's super exciting. There's a lot of business opportunities with it. I'm kind of bummed whatever. It's a super cool opportunity. I'm not a direct investor with it, but my mother-in-law is, and she owns the company. And I figure that has its perks. And the way that I see this is I'm continuing to talk to people who want to get into this industry, because one of the things that I've been forced to do is understand all of the laws and regulations about this, understand all the logistics about this. I'm working with plants now, like marijuana plants. I'm figuring out how all of them grow, all of the science behind that. And I was talking to my mother-in-law yesterday. I report directly to her. I said, listen, I'm just trying to figure this whole business out, every aspect. And she's like, good, because there's going to be opportunities with it. And you're going to be one of the key people that we look to as we grow our business. So to anybody that is newer, so you did a couple fix and flips, you went from teaching to commercial real estate. Where do you suggest somebody that's newer or somebody looking to scale up their investment? You know a lot about assets. You see the inside of a lot of assets. Mm-hmm. I would love to hear your take on, just commercial investing. Do you see the scalability of that as kind of a better play for somebody if they can get into that realm?
Like any business, real estate is a business. Okay, it's an investment, but in the end of the day, it's a business. Like any business, if you surround yourself with the right people that are successful at it, that you can learn from, and partner with the right people, I think you're going to succeed. If you try to just tackle it on your own, try to figure it out, reinvent the wheel, it's going to be very difficult to do, to scale that. But I definitely think it's sustainable. There's tons of opportunities. There's no shortage of properties, no shortage of, obviously there's competition, but with the right mindset and the right focus, and you have to be focused, you can succeed. And I personally, because I've seen such an incredible volume of properties and closings and deals come through me just from the aspect of cost segregation, again, because I'm looking at all these deals closing, I'm looking at all these properties, I'm watching from a bird's eye view in every market in the country, every asset type that's out there. And I'm seeing all this happening. I'm watching people doing this. Like, listen, if they can do it, I can do it. And so that's really what's pushed me currently to kind of be shifting some of my time and energies into moving into that space, because everyone needs to create wealth. Everyone needs to have investments. Okay. So regardless of what you're doing, whether it's full-time or part-time, or whether it's passive or active, you need to find those opportunities. And I think multifamily specifically, but real estate in general, is a great tool and great investment that should not be overlooked.
And that was going to be my next question. Are you investing currently yourself or not yet?
So that's exactly what I'm doing right now. So I had the first deal that I was a part of on a very minor scale, albeit, but back in November in Atlanta, a multifamily property, 70 units. So that was the first really hands-on experience that I had. And that's my goal is in 2021, moving forward, finding deals, trying to put together deals and partner with the right people to make it happen.
So I don't know if this is illegal or illegal, but I'm an outside of the box thinker. Could you forego your services because you've seen the inside of so many deals to underwrite and cost segregation a deal as part of your commitment to the deal? Is that an avenue to invest or no?
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because it's such a small amount, believe it or not. Like a cost segregation study itself is such a small kind of piece of the puzzle. It's huge in terms of tax savings, but in terms of how much it costs to get it done, it's almost minuscule. Mm-hmm. But yeah, definitely, if that's my value add to a deal, I'm happy to do so.
No, and it's great because what I was just talking about with the gentleman the other day is, I'm talking to people from all over the world, and there's a lot of communities that are financially illiterate would be the term, right? And so these conversations that we're having, it's alarming to me. I don't say you have to understand it, but to not even know that it's an option, right? Meaning infinite banking, overinflated life insurance policy, cost segregation.
the rich white A-head, whatever, are the ones that are hoarding this information. And it's nice to be able to get in these communities and share these ideas of these vehicles. To me, it's really probably one of the only things I care about. And one of my buddies who manages a ton of money for University of Texas, we want to create, a kids program for middle school and high school kids on these ideas, because all you need is the door to be cracked open just a bit, where you get a new idea and then you can run with it. But you have to have the door cracked in the first. And why these conversations are so important.
Absolutely, it's something that is missed in general education, and I never got it really. I mean, I had some. It wasn't something that was necessarily taught to me when I was growing up. Financial literacy, as I know it today. And it's something that I'm actively trying to help my own children with, because yeah, it's not taught in school, these kind of things. And you need to go out of your way. You need to have some extracurricular. Unfortunately, you have to go beyond the school system to make sure that you're educating yourself. But those who do are going to be the ones that are on top.
Dude, I'm so ridiculous. My best friends, for Christmas, I gave all the kids Rich Kid, Poor Kid by Robert Kiyosaki. And I said, throw all your other gifts away. This is the only thing you need. and my buddy's like, man, you are on. He's like, you're trying to get him. I said, I'm trying to get you retired. That's what I'm trying to do. Yeah. No, that's it's awesome. Important.
That's awesome. Yeah, kids don't know about it. And a book like that will help open their minds to possibilities and things.
So let's stick here for a minute, and then we'll switch into mindset and personal development, which is really all me and you really care about. But for anybody that's listening, let's say new Airbnb guy, they've been thinking about it, they don't. Give me 3 to 5 initial starting points for an investor. What we're trying to get across to you, and I said this on Mike's podcast, it doesn't need to be 20 properties. It doesn't even need to be a hotel. It could be 4 properties, and you could be done. So why don't you?
I had enough to replace my income at like 8 or 9, and I was making a good income, right? Like, it doesn't take a lot, and that's the beauty of this business. And I would say the first thing is to get clear on what you want. Just like Austin said, like a lot of people, I go to a lot of these conferences and they're like, I want 100 units. I want 500 units. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, you could do it, but why? Like, why? What does that do for you? Mm-hmm. For me, it was more about, I wanted to be able to teach financial education. That's what I was passionate about. And that's what I get to do now. So I wanted to get to the point where I'm continuing to build my cash flow and wealth with real estate, but I have no desire to go to 500 units. Like, I don't. I'll tell you straight up. Like, it's just not what I'm going for. Like, It's not. And that's okay. And if you wanted, like, I have some students, they just wanted 1 property in Disney that would pay for itself. Amazing. That's awesome. Cool. Like, do you. Like, don't feel like you have to quit your job or you have to have 20 units or whatever. It's just be you. Like, what do you want? And screw what everybody else says. It doesn't matter. It's your life. Mm-hmm. So that's the first thing. Then the second thing is it's in this book, right? Think and Grow Rich. Like, get the specialized knowledge. Like, you can go out and try and figure it out on your own. I'll tell you personally, I bought every Airbnb course I could get my hands on. And I found mentors and friends and just people that were already doing it. And I'm like, all right, how are you doing it? How are you doing it? How are you doing it? And I was like a sponge. I just absorbed it and just continue to learn and find somebody that is at or above the level that you want to get to and just do what they tell you to do. Mm-hmm. Like, that's it. Like, now I have my own system that works for me. So that's what I know. But initially I had no clue what I was doing. So I went and found people that were doing it and I got bits and pieces from all of them. Mm-hmm. So get some education, get some accountability. So third is get some accountability, because there's going to be days whether you're tired or shit comes up or you just don't feel like doing it, that you need somebody to grab your hand and be like, dude, I love you, or lady, I love you. And I know what you're going after and I won't let you off the hook, from a place of love, because I know that this is what you want. So let's get to work and let's do it. Mm-hmm. And I've had a group of 5 people that, we get on weekly calls for the last few years that, like, they know what I'm going towards and they hold me accountable to do it. Mm-hmm. Like, those are some key things. So know what you want, get the accountability around it, go out and get some specialized knowledge. And then I would say the last thing is just take action. Like, I was in a state of always analyzing deals and always consuming education and reading all these articles, but I wasn't going out and putting in offers and negotiating with landlords and actually doing the work, because I was introverted. And I can still be very introverted, and I work on that constantly. But like, if you don't put yourself out there, it's not just going to happen via osmosis. You have to go out. And I told Austin this, like, when I was trying to get my first deal, my first co-host deal, I was doing everything from like reaching out to people on Craigslist. I was hosting my own meetup. And there were literally a couple months where nobody showed up to my meetup. Not a single person came to that meetup. And I was like, cool, I'm going to keep doing it until people come. Like, period, because I am all in. Like, I burned the boats, man. Like, this is it. And when you just have that mental shift that I will do this no matter what, and you have the faith, it will happen. Like, it's a law. It will.
No, you're trying to be a lifestyle investor, baby. Yes. That's the way I roll. I learned my lesson. I think I use an analogy. I think a lot of people in business walk out on a tree limb, and they get to the end of the tree limb and they go, why the hell am I on this tree limb? I don't want to be here anymore. Yeah. And so I set up my businesses. How can I leave this business in like 2 years? Because I'm like you, I just want to travel, right? And so is that kind of the genesis by you going off on your own, was kind of creating that leverage?
So us being off on our own, we had talked about it for a long time before we actually parted ways with the partnership. We talked about it so many times because I was like, you're giving him 33%. You already know everything. You're so funny because I'm like that, literally. So I think we talked about it for about a year. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And we just could not find the way to tell him that. Yeah. We needed to like, because he's like, honey, he did so much for me. Like, I could never do that to him. You know, like, if he needs me here, then I'll be here. But I said, he needs you to take over his company so he could retire. Mm-hmm. You know, you don't want to be there and still work for somebody. Like, you do not want to do that. So
that's exactly what he wanted me to do. And we had talked about it plenty of time. He told me, I will front all the money. I will buy the land, and you can come in and make all that happen, and we'll work something out. Something that I forgot to mention, whenever we started this mentorship with him, I worked with him for free, completely, 100% free.
No pay, absolutely.
Like she said, I would get home, you know, we live in Lebanon. This was in Springfield, which is like 45 minutes away, almost an hour. So during the summer, it's 8:30 p.m. and it's
tell the story about the bobcats on the job site. You said that in Clubhouse the other day. I thought it was the coolest thing ever.
What do you mean? What was that?
When you knew where the bobcat needed to be on Monday. Yes. Tell that story. I thought I told it to like 6 people.
Yeah, that's a true story. So, you know, I would do whatever it took to be in good terms with him. If I was in the truck with them, you know, passenger seat, and I heard him, you know, making calls, scheduling different things. And if I heard him say, you know, on Monday, we're going to be on this property and we're going to start doing this type of grading or whatever it was, then I knew in my head that the equipment was, you know, 10 minutes away from there. And that if the employees would come in on Monday morning, they would have to set up the trailer, load the equipment, move it to the other property, and that would just take too much time. So I would go in on Sunday, make the delivery, have the equipment right where it needed to be. That way everything will be ready for Monday for everybody to go in and work. And by taking that initiative and doing those things, I think I was able to get his trust, and I was able to let him know that I was serious about the business, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's how everything worked. If I heard him talking about, you know, I need to do this tomorrow or whatever, even if I couldn't do anything, I would make sure that I would write it down. And the next day at that time, I'd say, hey, Pedro, I think it's time for us to go. We got to meet with, the city inspector and such and such lot.
Yeah.
And it got to the point where he would be like, I can't make it. Can you go over there and tell them that we need to do this, this, and this? And then I started becoming the face of the company. So at a certain point, it was two of us.
Yeah.
And then all the city inspectors now knew me as Pedro's son. It just became a really, really good relationship between him and I. So, but yeah, I did everything for free at the beginning. She had a hard time with that. A lot of my friends had a hard time with that.
That's awful.
Her mentality wasn't just there yet. She would say,
Where are you from? I love her. She is my favorite human ever. Nobody messing with my baby. That's what it is.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
Well,
at the end of the day, right? I look at it from a context of this. When you're 80 or 60 years old and you've grown whatever businesses have you grown, like that, it might not be great on the surface, but that one relationship changed your vehicle for business for the rest of your life. Like
100%. And that's what people didn't understand. They would say, he's taking advantage of you. Even though employees, the subcontractors, they would say, wow, you're doing all this and he's not paying you one penny. Because, towards the end, he would go on vacation for 15 days and I would be the one closing on the houses, walking the houses, building the houses, everything, So, and I liked it personally, because at that time I was controlling everything. I was doing everything. So he would build 10, 15 houses at the same time. I would build 3, 4 houses at the same time. So in my head, the way I looked at it was, instead of getting the experience of 3 houses, I'm getting the experience of 15 houses, So, and every house is different. Even though we were building the same houses, every house was different. Every house had its own issues. And then I was getting that experience. I was getting everything. So people didn't think of it like that. They would say, he's taking advantage of you. You're doing everything for free. And eventually I did know how to do everything. And, his son, thankfully, his son stepped in. His son was like 21 at that time. He said, Dad, I want to learn stuff. And then we just kind of took that opportunity and we said, look, I think
you got this.
Yes,
we're out.
I think your son should definitely be the one in front of all this. At the end of the day, you're going to give him everything. And it worked out perfectly. It worked. And this was 2020.
Guys, we just wanted to make this episode to thank each and every one of those amazing guests that we've had on, that have come in to share their story and share their insights and their knowledge with everything that they brought to the podcast. And it's their stories and their gifts and their times that they're spending that create this amazing podcast that we have. And we thank you, listeners, for listening to each and every one of you. And if you haven't gone and gave us a review, drop a review, subscribe to the YouTube channel so we can continue to share this amazing message that you're trying to construct a life that is yours and yours alone. So thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to Construct Your Life with Austin Linney. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to rate, review, subscribe, and pay it forward by sharing with a friend. Most importantly, take this opportunity to start constructing your life by taking immediate action on what you learned. For show notes, resources, and more information on one-on-one coaching with Austin, visit constructyourlifepodcast.com.